detrimental to the league, but he gets time served, right?
So it's really a two-game suspension.
Two more games.
Okay.
The suspension, I mean, just yesterday, we're sitting here going, Ja really could turn it around. He's taking it seriously. He's out indefinitely. He's working on himself. And then just like that, Ja's eligible to play Monday against Dallas. Same day he's able to rejoin the Grizzlies in the team environment. According to Woj, this is a tweet, Morant hasn't been playing basketball while at counseling at a counseling center in Florida. So his ramp-up is expected to extend past Monday's game versus Dallas when he's first eligible to return, sources tell ESPN. It's expected that he'll return to play shortly thereafter. Guys, Ja sat down with our very own ESPN's own Jalen Rose for a one-on-one interview. It aired during Scott Van Pelt last night. Here's what he had to say to Jalen.
Now that I made a, terrible mistake, being inside a club and, went live, I put myself in, a bad position. And also it's, my daughter. There's times where she even tell me if she's, had a bad day. And I felt like, if she can tell me that, then, I can be able to go and talk to somebody as well.
What has he learned during treatment?
Just learning, I can open up. I can express my feelings, and that it's, okay to be able to express your feelings. So, I was constantly, talking to therapists. I've been doing, Reiki treatment. I've been doing anxiety breathing, different stuff to, help me manage that and release, all that stuff from my body.
So first off, anybody that talks openly about how they're trying to deal with anxiety or stress and going to a counselor center, like I support you. From somebody who still sees a therapist every Wednesday for an hour and a half, I think mental reflection is very important for how you want to attack life. With that being said, and I support Ja, I want Ja to win. For me to actually believe that a week of counseling, when there's been a series of incidents of behavior that's been shown, that all of a sudden now everything is addressed, I don't believe that at all. I don't. Like, to me, this is like a facade a little bit. This is page 6 out of the crisis management playbook or manual for athletes, right? Number one,
you laid this out originally,
like Urban Meyer
for
a couple of years ago, right? So, like, number one, what happens? You make a statement, like, where you actually sound like an adult. Check, like he did that. Number two, you disappear for a while. You let it come out from your camp. I'm receiving help, like him actually going to rehab, which going down to Florida, if somebody comes over to your house, you're trying to reflect for a week or so, okay. And then you kind of initiate coming back. You do a meeting with Adam Silver, you talk it through, and then you do a sit down, right? And you kind of show remorse, and you talk about what you've learned, and then you try to get back to playing your sport. But that doesn't make me truly believe that you have truly learned and that there are habits that all of a sudden are going to be changed. I hope they're going to be changed, but it's almost like it feels like a facade. It feels like
they hit fast forward.
Yeah, like
they're going through it, but they're not skipping it. They're doing what you said, but they're doing it very fast.
Very fast. Yeah. It's like, well, you just went through 20 pages of the manual and like, hold on a second. Like, usually when you check into a rehab, when you're going through stress or anxiety, it's like a 20, 25-day process. Like, I've talked to people who own rehab facilities. I'm not sure that you just learn every valuable lesson within a week.
Do you think the pressure, though, to do it quickly, there is coming from the Grizzlies since they have playoff aspirations? And
I think it's coming from
the best
everybody.
Player on their team?
Key, I think it's coming from everybody. I think it's coming from the Grizzlies. I think it's coming from the league, right? And I think also Ja's trying to get back to play because at the end of the day, if you win, all else goes away. It's been proven in our society multiple times, Key.
Yeah. I don't know where to start, and I hear you loud and clear, Jay. And I don't know where to start because the first thing come to mind for me is like, damn, he's out already, And so when I've never had to go to get help for anything or nothing like that, or sit down and talk to people about whatever I'm going through in life because I take a different approach when things happen to me in such fashion or have happened to me in such fashion. But I've known people, I've dealt with helping people in situations where they needed to seek out help. And to be honest with you, I don't ever remember coming back in a week. So I don't know what it means. I don't know if it's the NBA, along with the Grizzlies and Ja Morant's people, saying, "Hey, okay, you done that. Let's get back on the court." I don't know what to make of it.
You know what it reminds me of? You ever see the movie Groundhog Day? Bill Murray. So you know Groundhog Day. You're familiar with it, Key? The dude living
the
through
movie.
the film. Yeah, Bill Murray's living through
Yeah.
the same day every day. So remember, he has this thing, and they have this like romantic day with the love interest, right? And everything was happening naturally, and then he tried to recreate it the next day, so he was rushing through all the same steps, right? It makes you feel like it's not authentic. Something's wrong.
Yeah,
He's
and
rushing
I
through
would,
these steps, and it doesn't feel authentic.
I would love to know, even though we'll probably never know, what the real issues. Yeah, the real issues, the reasons behind it. Is it obviously? Is it alcohol related? Is it stress related? What is it that made him have to approach? I don't know if you call it a rehab center or whatever, seeking out help in Florida. Like, what prompted that? I know that we saw a gun in a club and all that, but what really prompted his team to say, okay, let's go here for a week?
Well, Key, I'm going to tell you this. You know, we always joke around on this show that I'm always the person on social media. And it's like my mom and dad used to always tell me growing up, if you listen to somebody long enough, they're going to tell you who they are, right? And like listen now means by viewing, because people show their habits. Just watch Ja Morant's, like his tape. Like watch the IG lives. Like watch some of the things that you actually see that he shows to the public.
Okay.
Multiple times, and you'll see what's going on. Like it shows you what's going on. So for me, just keeping it a buck, like I think there's a lot of immaturity. And look, from somebody who made immature decisions as a young man, I get it, right? It happens. Now, addressing those things, like you have to take that seriously. So when I see the steps being rushed, I'm like, man, like this to me comes back on the people around him and the Memphis Grizzlies. Like I get that the playoffs are starting. I understand that we have 12 games left in the regular season. I get there's a big push, and Memphis basketball could be, a chance to be, NBA champions. But it definitely feels like this process has been rushed just to get Ja back on the court. And to me, that don't sit right with my soul.
No, and it may feel that way. I know growing up for myself and being an adolescent and finding myself in California Youth Authority and running around and just doing stuff that I shouldn't have been doing or whatever the case is, eventually I grew out of that because, once I lost all my excuses in life and blaming others and doing this and not really being accountable for those actions, I found my results in life, and it became greater for me. I became a better individual. I became a better athlete. I became just who I am today, just a better, just in general. And he may have to go through some of the trials and tribulations and ups and downs to get to a point where we look back 5 years from now and we see a totally different Ja Morant. There won't be. It's all when you're young, it starts off really wide. By the time you become seasoned, that thing gets nice and tight. You're married, you got a couple kids. The whole perspective changes because you grow and you become older. The homeboys in the bottle service and those sort of things become limited. It's not a everyday road trip thing. It's not every time I hit a city, I'm going to a club. It's not that anymore. He's still probably trying to get those toxins, that poison out of his system, and it may take a little bit for that to happen.
More on Ja Morant. Plus, Jay offers an apology for an apology. We'll explain next. Keyshawn, Jay.